Jamir, you had recently met the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, and just last week, the Home Minister, Union Home Minister, had invited you to Delhi. What was the purpose of these two meetings?
The main purpose was to discuss about Naga political issue. And I wanted to know exactly what is the stand of the government of India vis-a-vis the ongoing political dialogue. As a matter of fact, it's not an ongoing dialogue, but is already completed agreement. So I want to know the position of this government of India. Both the Prime Minister as well as Home Minister made it amply clear, without any ambiguity, that sovereignty, integration, flag and constitutions are no more in the agreement, because the unity of the country nor the constitution cannot be compromised. And that was a very, very clear message to the people of Nagaland. And perhaps the same views were conveyed to the Naga leaders who are engaged in the present political dialogue and who have abandoned their signatures in their respective agreements.
Well, Mr. Jamir, right now you have stated that not an ongoing peace talk, but a completed process. Yeah, that's what you have mentioned. Well, the NSCN and IM have accused you of destroying the Naga political identity. So, do you not subscribe to the idea that the Nagas should live independently?
I think this is the greatest opportunity to explain the reality of the statement and also my approach to the Naga problem. It should be noted that the leaders of Naga Underground, that when ceasefire was declared in 1964, NNO was there in the government. I was the parliamentary secretary attached to Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. And at that point of time, we have agreed that the Naga federal government should negotiate with the government of India at Prime Minister level. And in our 16-point agreement, we made that Nagaland should be under External Affairs Ministry, so that in future, the political dialogue will be at the Prime Minister level. Because at that point of time, Prime Minister was holding the portfolio of External Affairs Ministry. Accordingly, when ceasefire was declared, when negotiations started, there were 6 rounds of talks. And the last political talks was with Srimati Indira Gandhi. And the Naga Underground was led by Kokato Sukhai, and many of them were there. And Indira Gandhi openly told them, except external affairs, home, finance, communications, atomic energy, you can choose the rest. And the Naga delegation at that point of time, they were staying in Hyderabad house. And they started discussing among themselves. But unfortunately, when it was about to be finalized, tribalism crept into this. Some of the members from outside instigated that if settlement is made in Sima leadership, other tribes will find difficulties. That was the propaganda carried out by that vested interest this representative, and thereby creating dissension among themselves. And they call off the dialogue, return, and again they declared president rule by dismissing Kokato Sakai, Sakato, all this. And that was the beginning of formation of, they call it revolutionary government. And perhaps that was the milestone in Naga political struggle where we have destroyed ourselves into two factions. But after that, also, during my time, ceasefire was declared in 1997, and for the last 20 years, they have been discussing. And perhaps, and I believe, during these 20 years, they must have thoroughly discussed, debated each and every point relevant to Naga issue, including Summit Commission, plebiscite, sovereignty, integration, flag, constitution, and so on and so forth. Only after discussing for 20 years, they have mutually agreed, collectively signed the framework agreement on 3rd August 2015 in the presence of Prime Minister, Home Minister, and Security Advisor on Government of India side, and all the VIPs from NSCN side. After appending the signature, we have been watching in the TV, they shook hands with Prime Minister, with Home Ministers, with political advisors, and they clapped their hands. Should we take it that is it an approval or disapproval? I think it is only when we agree we shake hands. It is only when we agree we clap our hands. Unless in Naga nature, if we don't agree, we shake our heads. But I have not seen anybody shaking their heads except clapping. And therefore, as a public, we feel that they have agreed what they have signed officially, formally, consciously, and knowing all the contents of this framework agreement. At this stage, when logical conclusion is to be made, when the goodwill of all sections of the Naga communities are to be sought, both by NSCN, IM, and NPGs, I think it is very unfortunate that NSCN, IM leadership, they are talking in a different tone. I'm an individual. I don't belong to the core committee. I don't belong to any Naga underground organization. The drafting was not done by me, and we have never interfered in the drafting that it should 60 points should be the basis. No, nobody has said, neither individual or individuals. But all of a sudden, when I met the Home Minister the other night, they started again that, why should we console Jamir? I think Naga problem doesn't belong to underground only. It is a common property of all Nagas, and therefore every Naga citizen has got a right to express his or her opinion on the. But unfortunately, this agreed positions document was circulated widely to the legislatures, to the organizations. I got a copy also. I have gone through, but so far, I have not seen, except that the framework agreement, no competencies have been circulated to anybody. And to speak the truth, legally, politically, constitutionally, democratically, I think that people should know what kind of arrangements are being made for the future. But in this case, they have not shown to anybody. And yet, the people's, I think, understanding is whatever they have done, since it has been drawn up after 20 years of negotiation, it will be in the best interest of the people and the country. That's why people are keeping quiet and they want to accept whatever they have done. And therefore, I would appeal especially to leaders of the IM. I have no grudge against anybody as an old man. I pray for all of them. And it is time that the leadership of both IM as well as this NNBGs, they should seek the blessings of every Naga at this crucial stage. And therefore, whatever they have said, I think it is a closed chapter. We're talking about the present, and we're trying to shape the future of the Naga people. And why should they talk about 1963? It is not today, it is 1963. And therefore, my appeal to IM leadership, that let us try to bring all sections of the Naga community to a common platform and design, shape, mold the future of Naga people to be a healthy, united, harmonious, and prosperous Nagaland. And now that Government of India made it amply clear to all concerned that integration doesn't figure in the agreement, why should we not take care of our own respective subject? Since they were given territorial council or autonomous council, let them try to work out as effectively, efficiently as possible, and let Naga people also should be allowed to settle down in peace because we have our own state. And whatever, any additional agreement will be brought in, let us implement it, I think, with full understanding of the present and future. So as an old man, I can only appeal to all the people not to create any confusion, any bitterness in the minds of the people, nor among the societies, but with united effort, prayerfully to the Almighty that Nagaland should come as a normal, peaceful, harmonious, united Nagaland. My dear Nagaland, I think that is the dream of the younger generation. And the older generation should not leave a legacy of trouble to the younger generation. Let us leave the legacy of happiness and bright future for our younger generation. I think that is my prayer as an old man.
Mr. Jamir, why do you think the NSCN IM is so critical of you, about you?
I don't also understand also. Yeah, because I have never interfered in their business. And actually, ceasefire was declared when I was chief minister. And when it was incomplete, actually it is, I helped even Home Ministry in preparing that ceasefire monitoring this group also. But I don't know why they are so much against me. And that's also personal. If there's political difference, yes, we can debate. But if personal attack is there, I think it is not good for political leadership to attack personally. Yes, if they want to attack my policy, yes, I'm prepared to debate. But for nothing, why should you all the time mentioning about SCJMR? Last time when I met the Prime Minister also, they said the same thing, this time also. And how can they say, what right have they got, that I should not be consulted? It is we who formed the state. And they're talking about this 16 point. It's no longer there. If they read carefully, 16 point has been dissolved in the Indian Constitution. If you read the first schedule, Nagaland would bear 16 number, 16 state. If you read this schedule of the Constitution, we are also sharing that state list. We are doing the state list. If you see governor, we have several governors, several high court, and then Naga regime, we have said, Naga regime is there. So why should you talk about the 16 point now? It is already merged or assimilated in the Indian Constitution. So it is wrong on their part to talk about 16 point also.
Mr. Jamir, like you have rightly mentioned, the ceasefire agreement between the NSCN IM and the government of India was signed during your time when you were there as the Chief Minister of the state. My question to you is, what was in your perception at that point of time towards Naga solution? Did you at any point of time initiate to bring the other groups like the NNC or the NSCN Kaplang to join the peace dialogue?
That time, to be very frank, they have not taken the permission of the state government. The NSN IM made Divagoda abroad, and perhaps there is no written agreement also, as far as I know. So when they met, they prepared that the ground rules and sent to meet for implementation, signed only by the Additional Secretary of this Government of India Home Ministry. But there was no signature of the underground. So I sent it back, how are you going to this implement when the other party is not there? So hurriedly they called the meeting, and secondly they sent it with the signature of the underground, NSNIM. Then again, for that monitoring group, I said, how are you going to implement? Because earlier, in 1964, we had peace committee. And we have even included Michael Scott, Jaliha, all of them. But you have no this, nothing. So at last they have appointed Shinoe as the chairman of the monitoring group. So from the very beginning, there was, I think they have not done it systematically. At that time, it was signed only with IM.
In the current talks that is going on right now, what do you think is the main stumbling block to reach a final solution?
Well, I have been telling even our underground people also, whatever you have signed, I believe, as mentioned earlier, for 20 years, you have deliberated. Why have to not raise your issue on the final day of signing the agreement? After signing everything, why rake up again issues which are not relevant to that? I said. And therefore, as Naga, whatever we sign, I think we should stick strictly to what we said, because Nagas, we should be honest to what we say, and we should be honest to what we commit. And this is the time that both the leaders of the IM and NNBG to show their Naga spirit of honesty, Naga spirit of truthfulness, and Naga spirit of firmness. I think that is my prayer to them, that don't go back to what you have said. Stick to it. Not only that, Isaac Su, who was the president, while he was alive, he has signed this. If this is so, should we not honor the president of NSCN IM, who have appended his signature from his sick bed? Have we not attached to this importance also? Though he's not there, at least his soul will be there. So as a Naga, in the interest of the Naga people and the country, it is high time that we have a logical conclusion of this talk and allow Naga people to grow as any other state like Gujarat, like Maharashtra, like UP, like Orissa. because Naga people have got, I think, strength, potentialities to develop, and especially our younger generation. Their mindset is different, their lifestyle is different, their vision is different, but we have not been able to give them space to develop. And therefore, by early settlement of the Naga problem, I think peaceful condition would be created, and there shall be sufficient space for the development of our younger generation's energy potentialities. And let us hope that good sense prevail in the hearts and souls of every Naga and every Naga woman.
According to you, do you think that all the Naga national groups should come together and sign one agreement, one accord, one solution? That includes the NNC as well? Or do you think the Nagas of Nagaland should go ahead without the NSCN IM?
You know, we always say inclusive or single. Whatever draft has been put up by IM, whatever draft has been put up by NNPG, it will definitely become one in the hands of the government of India. And therefore, when it is a solution, the name NSNIM or NFG will vanish. It will be Naga leaders, and it will be Naga Accord. And therefore, I don't feel any difficulties in this. And why should we exclude one group or other? This is the common approach. And I think whether it is NSNIM or NNFG, they have the best interests of the Naga people and the country. And therefore, I don't see any reason why there should be this separate agreement. Ultimately, it will be one, because all the competences, if some of them are to be required to be incorporated in the Constitution of India, it has to come to Parliament, whether it is in that competencies or in the agreed point. If the relevant points which are to be incorporated in the Constitution of India, it has come to Indian Parliament. So whether you come from the east or left or like this, they'll be meeting in the same house and they'll become one.
Well, the NSCN IM is still very firm on the demand of the symbolic issues, the flag, a separate flag and a constitution. So in case if an agreement is signed without the NSCN IM, do you think there will be bloodshed among the Naga people? Because the idea to eliminate one group was not possible even in the past.
Neither the country nor Naga people can afford to have any more bloodshed in any part of the country, especially in Nagaland. Naga people have suffered enough. Enough is enough. And therefore, by all means, Naga public also should raise their voice that they should agree to whatever has been signed. Because I think when basic issues are there, other subsidiary issues can be taken up in the due process of time. But the immediate problem is how to restore peace and how to allow normal functioning of the state. That is the one. After that, other issues we can also raise through assembly also, it doesn't matter. So I think this flag and the constitution should not be an obstacle for a final settlement. And I wish that the leaders of the NSCN should also respond to the mood, the passionate feeling of the Naga people.
Well, the government of India have made its position very clear on the flag and constitution. However, dialogue is going on even today, where the NSCN IM have made their stand clear that without these two, there will be no final solution. So at this very crucial juncture, you know, for the Nagas, what advice would you give to the two negotiating parties, the Naga negotiating parties, especially the NSCN IM?
I was told that I have not seen that competencies or anything. This can be taken up even after democratically. I think it was like this. So why should we not agree to that? Because why? when they have agreed to have a territorial council in Manipur, when the territorial council in Arunachal, we have a state. Then, to be practical, what will be the necessity of having a separate constitution? Because they will be functioning under the 6th schedule of the Constitution of India. And we are working now as a full-fledged state. It is not compatible as far as Nagaland is concerned, number one. Secondly, Constitution is prepared by a representative of various sections of the people as Constitution of India. When Constitution of India was drafted, all sections of the people were included, and they have enrolled constitutional expert, legal expert, veteran politician, and they have studied all the constitutions of the world to take up the very valuable provisions. That's why after that only, after 1 year debate, they have prepared the constitution, approved it, and then declared as Constitution of India. Whereas they are talking about this constitution, when was it drafted? Have they circulated it for public discussion? No. It was a political weapon, and we can't blame them also. And Fizo, his aim was sovereignty. And a sovereign country, when you achieve, even without saying, both flag and constitution are the attributes of a sovereign independent country. But when sovereignty is not there, I think it loses its importance. And on 29th February 2012, in this Agri Expo, Mr. Kohli has read out a written statement that Moeba told us that independence is not possible because of international situation. Integration is not possible because of the policy of the government of India and Myanmar. It was an open declaration on 29th February 2012. And this was clearly reflected both in framework agreement as well as agreed position. That's why they have not mentioned neither sovereignty nor the integration. So they have really told the truth here. That's why it was not reflected in neither of the agreement. So why should you now? I think the best thing which I would appeal to both the group is, whatever is possible, whatever is best, both for the Naga people and the government of India, under the contemporary political and social realities. They have achieved it. So be proud of what they have done and tell our Naga people, yes, we have fought, we have struggled, we have discussed, we have negotiated, deliberated. But this is the substance of all these years' effort because of international situation, because of situation in the country and the state. So people now, it is before you to accept. I think Naga people will be willing to accept whatever they achieve because what they want peace and normalcy.
How far have you consulted the Naga people when you said 100% unanimity is not possible?
Yes. Do you think that is it possible in the world? We are living in a democracy. I cannot impose my views on you. You cannot impose your views on me. And therefore, if we have to get going, in order to be effective, that's why in democracy, majority is being the deciding factor. And that is the how democracy functions.
Mr. Jamir, my last question to you. Will you ever consider sitting with the NSCN IM leadership before the final solution?
Well, that's a difficult question because Moeba and myself, when we discuss this issue, when I was governor of Maharashtra, I have said everything to him. And that day when we shook hands, he said, I think Jamir, this should be our last meeting. I said, yes. Whatever I have to tell you, I have told you, so no use meeting. Frankly, I said, yes, no use meeting again. Because whatever I have in my mind, I told you. Because spade is spade.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking to Notice.
Yeah.